Hey, welcome to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when future videos are out. And I thought this deserved a little extra talk about Marvel Legends and its future. And this is what I got from reading a forum comment of what might happen. Is the 3.75 inch might return. And just what I want to talk about is, for the past couple of years, and thankfully, we have had so many Marvel products, so many choices of figures a year. In fact, we have had times when we had almost 2 waves of figures hit, and sometimes a third soon after. So we have got a lot of product. And sure, it hurts our wallets, right? And hurts our bank accounts a lot. But we're just such Marvel fans that we want the figures, and we would rather have more figures than almost no figures a year. So we want the product. We want to see more figures. And it's been, if not the golden age, or a silver age of products where we have so many to choose from and such high quality. But with the price increases, I'm thinking, okay, if you get a windowless box and you make this the future of G.I. Joe, of Star Wars, of Marvel Legends, if you say this is the future, and it's not happening right now, it might take a year or two to really kick in, but if they do the windowless boxes and make that the actual future for all figures going forward, first, the people who just buy figures to never open, I think a good portion of them will stop buying. Turn off some casual collectors who want to see what you buy before you buy it. So I think they will lose fans and buyers just because of that. I think the new price point will turn off buyers who are going, you know what, I can't afford $30 a figure with taxes. You know, I can't buy this $40 deluxe figure. I need to be going up to that range or more. So people who bought the figures will be turned off, and people will buy less. Like I mentioned, what's going to happen is, it's just like simple economics, that when they raise the comic prices in comic books from $2.99 to $3.99 or more, people stopped buying, people left, and then so the earning dollars at the end of the year, even though you raised prices, since you had less buyers, the difference is you actually didn't profit more, you profited less, even though you raised prices, because you drove away a large number of comic buyers. And I think that's what's going to happen with the Marvel Legends brand. If anything, you know, when will the line end? Who knows? But if anything ends the line, and one day it has to end, people, you know, that's just the way it is. That's the cycle. If they raise the prices $27.99, even $25, and they get rid of the Build-A-Figure part, people will stop buying. So the prices go up, people leave, and even though they're charging more money, they're getting less dollars at the end of the year, because even though they raised the prices, a lot of people left, and so they ended up not being as profitable as they planned. So what that would mean, and I'm just playing this out, is then they will give you less product a year. So that's what I predict is going to happen. As the prices increase to the community I'm talking here, I think we're going to see in a couple of years that they will give us less figures a year because they will realize at some point, not a lot of product, there's less buyers. So we're going to respond and give you less figures a year. So I don't think we're going to get how many figures in a year, close to 100 or more, I don't know, that we've had in the past couple of years. We're going to get less figures at some point in the future because sales will go down. People will leave, prices are going up, and they will make less profit, and they're going to say, you know what, we're going to put out less product. So you're going to get less Marvel product at some point in the future. And then what might happen is, and this is going to be the tricky point, and a comment I'd read, they end the Marvel Legends 6-inch line. Maybe not officially, a couple of product a year, okay? But they will focus on, let's say, a 3.75-inch scale or a 4-inch scale and charge you probably charge you $15, okay? $10 to $15. So what they're going to do is, instead of giving you a $25 or $30 6-inch figure, which uses a lot of plastic, okay? We'll give you a 3.75-inch or a 4-inch figure, which uses a lot less plastic, and charge you $15 or $20, just like the Marvel Legends used to be $20. We'll charge you that price, and even though you think, oh, it's cheaper, I'll buy it, it's a cheaper product, I'll buy it, it's only $15 to $20. Yeah, it is, but it would be more profitable for them because they only got to give you a 3.75-inch or a 4-inch figure that uses a lot less plastic. And so if they charge you $15 or whatever, it becomes a more profitable product because the packaging is less, the material and the plastic used to make it is less. There's no build-a-figure part, and so that will be the way of Marvel's future. Going back to a smaller scale, charging you about $15 or more. I would say 15, and the profit potential will be a lot more than 6-inch Marvel Legends. And I think we're already seeing it somewhat in their supposedly Marvel Legends 3.75-inch scale figures, where they give you a nice card with nice card art, and it only costs a little plastic to make the see-through window, and they give you a figure. But the reason I don't like it and buy it is the articulation. I remember the Marvel Universe 3.75-inch days, which were highly articulated, very nicely done. And so I can't go back to simple articulation of a 3.75-inch stuff that they're trying to sell you now. But I think that will be the way. It's not going to happen right away. It's going to take a time, but that's the future I see of the Marvel brand. So what do you think? Is this the future? Prices increase. Do you think enough people will be driven away or buy less that the profits go down actually, so they make less product, and someone realizes, hey, get rid of the 6-inch scale or make very few a year, okay, just to keep those buyers around. Let's just make a smaller product, 3.75-inch or 4-inch, uses a lot less plastic, and then sell that to you for $15, and that would be more profitable than now. But you want to know what? In terms of a cycle, and I mentioned my previous video about the Toy Biz 5-inch days, wouldn't it be so funny and so ironic that what if they abandoned the 6-inch scale one day, go back to the 5-inch scale, but make it as articulated as a Marvel Legend? In other words, not the 5-inch Toy Biz articulation, but make it as articulated as now. Make 5-inch figures of Marvel and make that, in other words, the new brand. And the only way you could do that is stop the 6-inch figures, stop the 3.75-inch figures, say we're going to do a fresh start, 5-inch figures moving forward, and that will be our future. So either you're going to buy it or you're not, and that's going to be all the Marvel product we make. And then charge you $15 or probably $20, which is what you're paying now, and that's the way. And don't get me wrong, if you charge a 5-inch figure, that uses a lot less plastic than a 6-inch figure, especially if you do not give a Build-A-Figure part and you put it on a card, let's say. Wouldn't that be the most ironic thing in the world for a huge Marvel collector, if you've collected it for years and you're just back to the 1990s Toy Biz days in a way? Wouldn't that be so weird, and yet it would kind of be fulfilling for a new generation of buyers in a way, a new market, to say 5-inch scale is back and this is the way going forward. And the only way they could do that, like I said, is you got to cut off the 3.75 inch and you got to cut off the 6-inch scale. You couldn't do that because people would still buy the 6-inch figures. They would be loyal to it if you still made some a year. And the only way they would switch over to a new brand is if you cut off the other lines completely. And what do you think? Wouldn't that be the ultimate in terms of being weird? And I talked about originally when 6-inch Marvel Legends appeared, it was rare. It was a new scale the market didn't have, and 5 inches or under was what everyone else was making. When you look at the product now, most companies make 6-inch or 7-inch or more figures, or 3-inch scale about. Nobody really makes a 5-inch scale anymore. The 5-inch scale is not popular. It is not even the industry standard, I would say. So if a company like Hasbro went back to make a 5-inch product, that would be the innovative new way forward, because nobody else is doing that right now. So going back to the past, going back in a way to the start, is that possible? I oddly feel as I'm making this post, and it occurred to me that, wow, you can't predict the future, people, but at some point the 6-inch scale will go away. It has to, it's just the way business it works, And either Hasbro will lose the license, and once Hasbro loses the license, then it's over. Because I don't think any other company is honestly going to do as good a job. With the exception of McFarlane, I don't think it's as right as what Hasbro is doing. But if McFarlane made it, he would make 7-inch figures. And again, you either like his stuff or you don't. I do like it. It's different, but I still like it. It's not the same, but for what it's worth, I do like it for the cost for value. So if all these other companies I don't trust. I don't trust Mattel. I don't trust all these other brands that make figures. But I think McFarlane would do a good job. Not as good as Hasbro, but he would do a good job in his own right. He would make them 7 inches in the $20 to $25 range. But it would be nothing like the Marvel stuff now. So I predict the end of Marvel Legends will either happen at some point when Hasbro loses the rights. Then it's over, okay? It's just over, people. That's how Marvel Legends ends, is when they lose the license. But if Hasbro does keep the rights, I predict, it could be in the future that we see, oddly enough, the return of a 5-inch line. And that would be the most weirdest thing, that Marvel figures return to the 5-inch scale, but the Marvel Legends in articulation. And just like going back to the start, we find ourselves in a 5-inch scale range, which no one else is really making. So that's the way forward. What do you think? I just think when I look at the price increases, this cannot be the way of the future. This cannot be sustained. We have crossed the line that the value is not what you're paying, and that's going to make fans walk away. And then once that happens, the company has to respond to give you a cheaper product that uses less plastic, but they could still be very profitable making. So that's it. That's the talk. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. Stay safe, my friends, and I will talk to you later.